Rather than stand up here, I'm not one for sort of standing too much, but so if I move around, can everyone hear all right?
Yep.
I don't know if I'm supposed to ask that, not that I care, but the reality is that I don't know if when you read the program, if you have a look at your program, the question mark is not on the end of the heading. If you look at your program, the question mark is not there, and it should be there. It's a big deal from my point of view, and I'll tell you why. Is because if AIM asked me to present that topic without the question mark, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm going to speak to that a little bit today. I think there's a lot of money being made on the back of this whole fascination with non-verbals and reading people and deception. There's TV shows being made about it. There are books being written about it. There are training courses being hawked out there on it. And there's a couple of fundamental flaws with what's going on at the moment. And we're going to talk about those a little bit. But this whole idea of body language, some of you will be aware of Alan Pease, and I think his great contribution to this field was he actually was one of the first people to break the body down into individual components that allowed for analysis to derive meaning from those. He's since gone on to do a lot of things, but the term body language, it was convenient, it's easy to sell, it's sexy, people like it, but unfortunately it's not really representative of what we're trying to do when we talk about this stuff. So we're going to spend a bit of time having a bit of a look at how to make clickers work. Spend enough time on that. No, it's actually part of my routine. So, the reality is, I was at last year I was at a university, and there was an associate professor of communications presenting, and he had this slide up, and he was talking about how 55% of any communication between two adults is non-verbal in nature, 38% of its tone, and only 7% of the meaning of a communication between two humans is made up of the words. So I put my hand up and I said, that's true, if what you're saying is true, I should be able to go home, turn on the news, turn down the sound, and still get 55% of what the newsreader is saying. He wasn't very happy with the question. But it's true. I've seen this taught for 20 years. This is one of the biggest problems we have at the moment with the way that training programs and a lot of the people who are hawking this stuff misuse the science behind it. Okay? So does anyone know what this actually means? Just put your hand up. I'm not going to ask you to tell me because then you can lie. Does anyone actually know? You've seen this? Who's seen this? Yeah? And that's how you've been taught it probably. Yes. The reality is, this study done in 1969 and 1971, Alvin Moravian, two studies, this is an aggregation of those two studies. He himself has stepped away from this diagram because of the way it's misused. This is rubbish if you say that the meaning of communication between two people, 55% was non-verbal. That means that up until now, everything you've got from me is because I've been doing this. And if I continue to do this for the next 40 minutes, you'll get a lot out of today. Good so far? Do you get my point? The problem is, there's a lot of this going on. There's heaps of this going on. Right? And there's a big overhead in staying up to date with this sort of thing. The entire neuroscience catalogue of MIT landed in our office. I think it's 26 books this year. Someone, not me, thank goodness, has got to go through all those 26 and try and find what the applications are from those 26 books and put them into programs so that they can be delivered with a degree of validity and reliability. So the thing is though, and we say this all the time, there's another cracker. Okay, so you heard this. Research shows that only 30% of people avert their eyes when lying. You know that? Right, so now you're all thinking of your husband or your wife. The reality is that that's a pretty commonly quoted statistic in the area of deception and in the areas of interview. Right? The reality is that's true. That's true if we have a relationship. They neglect to put that bit in when they quote that research. Right? Now, I've been cruising around today listening to some of the speakers, no disrespect to any of them, but as soon as I hear people say research says, I'm on. Right? Because it's like statistics, it's like it's a great cover-all from I'm making a bit of stuff up, don't ask me questions about it because I want to get a point across. Right? So we misuse this stuff. The thing about this, and the reason why I'm throwing this up to start with, is that I'm interested why you're all here. Right? There should be 3 people in the room, and they should be the idiots that really haven't read any book on non-verbals or have no experience in having had relationships before, don't have a family, never had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, never went to any sort of educational agency. Well, some of you could actually be in that group. You can be careful now with this, but that's what I would expect in here. So what are you doing here? Seriously, what are you expecting out of this? You know, if you're here for secret signals and silence, I've got some stuff in my bag that's worth a lot of money if you want to buy it when we're done here.